Hey, I'm Bethany, and thanks for coming to my channel where we are sharing ideas to expand our consciousness and discover our inner power. In this video, we're going to talk about something super important because it literally determines every thought that you think and every decision that you make. So I'm kind of a self-help junkie, and for the past few years I've been reading books about cognitive therapy and how your thoughts determine your behavior. But it wasn't until recently that I started learning about something that's even underneath your thoughts and behavior that's triggering them both, and that is your beliefs. Now, when we say the word beliefs, a lot of people think about faith or religious beliefs. But beliefs are actually the infrastructure of your perception of your entire reality. So the way that you perceive yourself, the way that you perceive others, the way that you tell stories about the events that happen to you in your life, these are all beliefs, and they create the fabric of your reality. So beliefs are different than thoughts in that thoughts sort of ebb and flow and come and go all day long, and you're able to direct your thoughts in sort of a direction that you want them to go. But beliefs are much more solid, and they act as part of an immune system inside your brain to prevent your brain from becoming unstable. Every time you get a new piece of information, your belief system acts as a filter or a firewall for the new information. So let's look at this little graphic to help us understand how it works. So if this is your belief system in here, you have what we'll call a giant filter. So every time a new piece of information comes along, it hits this filter, and if it matches the beliefs inside, then your brain lets the information in. But if it contradicts the existing beliefs, it bounces right out, does not get filed in the brain's memory. And when asked about the information later, studies have shown that people don't even remember hearing the contradictory information because it didn't even register in the brain. So if you've ever read any online forums or discussions happening about heated topics like religion, politics, vaccines, flat earth, any of these topics that people have a very, very strong belief on, then you've seen this defense mechanism in action. So what we're seeing is someone has a belief in their brain. It can be any belief here. And when the new information hits this belief, it gets glazed over, ignored, and tossed out, sometimes before they even read it. While anything that agrees with their worldview is taken into the proof bank to support the current belief. So studies have shown that when people are exposed to scientific facts on any given topic, they will only accept the information that corresponds to their existing beliefs, and they will completely ignore or even reject everything else. This is called confirmation bias, and I'll put a link to these studies I'm about to show you in the description below. So you guys have probably seen this happening all over the place, right? But the most powerful thing that you can do is to step out of this box for a second and actually observe this happening in your brain. So in the 1960s, researchers did a series of experiments and found out some pretty astonishing things about what people will do to maintain a belief once it's been established. Participants were first given material with false information at the beginning, but then later they were given a second material that explained why the information in the first one was false. The craziest part is, in all of these studies, the participants actually clung to the original information they were given, regardless of the evidence provided later that it was false. So not only did they prefer to believe the first information they received, but when they were interviewed afterward, participants actually came up with theories to support the first false belief, and many of them couldn't even remember the new evidence given to the contrary. And you can see from this study that the belief was made in an instant, and once the people believed the false information, it was extremely difficult to get them to change it. In 1997, Jeffrey Monroe and Peter Ditto conducted another series of studies where participants on both sides of a heated social issue were given facts and figures suggesting that their worldview was wrong. But it should come as no surprise that after these people were presented with scientific facts contradicting their strongly held belief, rather than uproot the old belief and embrace the new facts, participants gave excuses to discount the facts they just read. No one reported having an epiphany or a realization that they'd been wrong all along, but both sides rejected the science altogether. So this is really important in the world today because on so many issues, people are on very, very far sides. And you don't see very much of people coming into the middle and realizing that there are facts on both sides and that we need to objectively weigh the facts on both sides. And that's because people get stuck in this rock solid belief system where they're unable to open up their mind to new information. So the belief system and the way it acts in the brain is actually preventing you from learning new information. So my goal here is to help us to observe this belief system in action so that when you are presented with new information, you will be able to step back and have an awareness of the belief filter trying to block the information so that you can actually consider with an open mind new information. Now, the funny thing is, a lot of people consider themselves open-minded, but it's human nature to have this built-in belief system firewall that blocks out new information. So it's easy for us to see other people and think that they need to change their beliefs and they need to be more open-minded. But the truth of the matter is that we have to flip the mirror on ourselves, and we have to be able to look inward and see where are we blocking new information in our life, where are we preventing ourselves from learning new things, and how can we really become more open-minded. It seems that waking up from a delusion only needs to happen to other people, especially when we talk about religion. When you look at other people's religions that seem weird or crazy to you, it seems like all of those people out there are the ones that need to wake up and stop believing these crazy things. But you really, really need to turn it on yourself, because there is something that you are believing right now that is not correct and that is not 100% true, and that is blocking you from learning new information. Now, when I just now said that there's something you're believing that's not correct, you might have noticed a physiological reaction in your body, because when our belief system is under a threat or under an attack of saying there may be something wrong in here, we actually react as if a predator were coming toward us. There was a study done with neuroscientist Sam Harris where subjects were placed in an MRI machine and asked to consider counter-arguments to their strongly held beliefs. When participants were exposed to evidence that their beliefs might be incorrect, they reacted with the same brain regions that would come online if they were responding to an actual physical threat like that of a predator running toward you in the forest. So it's understandable that we see people in these online discussions reacting as if they're under a threat or under attack, because according to the receptors in their brain, it's actually no different. But the good news in all of this is that once you have an awareness that this filter exists in your brain, that's when you can start to see pieces of information hitting your belief filter. And at that point, you'll be able to stop, take the new information, and put it into a possibilities box. Now, I took a series of courses from a company called Outlook Development where they teach you how to change beliefs, and it turns out it's actually extremely difficult to change those beliefs. So taking in a piece of contradicting information takes a lot of effort, and putting it into a possibilities box, because you can't just instantly snap your fingers and change that belief. But what you can do is start to gather proof for the opposite belief. Because what your brain has been doing for years is gathering only proof to support one side of this belief. And it's been blocking out the proof for the other side of the belief for years. So what you can now do is gather proof for the opposite side of the belief that you want to change. Where this can be really helpful in your life is a belief about yourself that you might have, a belief that you're not good enough, that you are not worthy, a belief that is damaging you in your life. Anything that you find that is triggering thoughts and behaviors that is a damaging belief, it is so important to be able to gather proof for the opposite of your belief and be able to eventually believe the opposite. So the good news is once you're able to break down the walls of these belief systems and let in new information, that's when you're able to expand. And the more you expand and the more information that you can get inside your brain, the more you open up yourself to a world of infinite possibilities. Now, as I've mentioned in some of my previous videos about my faith crisis, going from a place where you have this stable belief box, where you have all of the answers, and then moving into this infinite expanse of outer space is like free falling, and it feels so unstable and so unsettling at first. But you are moving into a world of infinite possibilities where so many things can be considered, where anything is possible, and it is a beautiful place to be. So I'm asking you to open your mind to the possibility that some of your beliefs may be limiting you from taking in new information. And if you stick with me on this channel, we're going to embark on a world of spiritual awakening. And I can't promise to know anything for sure, but what I can promise is engaging discussions about new ideas as we embark into this expanse of infinite possibilities. Have you ever discovered a belief that you had that was limiting in your life or damaging, and you were able to change it? Let us know in the comments. What did you do? How did you change that belief that was so solid? And how did it feel finding out that you were believing something that was damaging and limiting you? I'm looking forward to reading your comments, and I hope to see you in the next video.